back to another episode of JR Takes. As always, Ryan and I coming at you with the latest Seattle Seahawks and NFL news. And Ryan, we were pretty happy with our result last Saturday. I was dead wrong on my terrible prediction of the game. I don't know what I was thinking it was going to be high scoring. Apparently I forgot how last season started off, but it was where we can forget about that.
Sometimes you just got to throw some shit out there and see if it sticks.
Yeah, that's what I was. That must have been what I was doing, because everything I said didn't happen and didn't really make any sense. So, but as you guys might have saw, the Seahawks won 16-3. Really liked what I saw from our defense. Giving up 3 points to a newly coached Jim Harbaugh Chargers team. I mean, I would hang my hat on that as a dub, personally.
Yeah, and I think the 3 points runs even deeper than how it looks on the surface, which is already pretty good, because the only 3 points we gave up were on a 58-yard field goal.
In the fourth quarter, correct?
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
The first 3 drives the Chargers had...
Sorry to interrupt you. By the most accurate kicker in NFL history in their first 2 seasons.
Yeah, this year's model. We forced a 3-and-out on the Chargers' first 3 drives, I believe. And in between there, somewhere in the first half, we had an interception off of a number of things happened on that play. You had, I believe, Byron Murphy and Derek Hall kind of pressure the terrible quarterback that is Easton Stick. He overthrows the receiver. I think Kevon Wallace or one of our safeties kind of hits the guy as he's trying to make the catch. And then Kobe Bryant comes up with a pick there. Pretty fun play. One thing that really just in general stuck out to me about the defense is they are really flying to the ball in a way that I just feel like we've been missing for a long time. Granted, it's one preseason game. It's the first preseason game. But they just looked very disciplined and like very rooted in their fundamental assignments. You even had Mike Morris drop back into coverage as a 280-pound defensive end and break up a pass, which was like, I'm not a huge fan of having your big guys cover, but if they can make plays like that, then fuck yeah.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that I kind of noticed from the game from both sides was the kickoffs. Seems we're like, definitely you can tell we're getting adjusted to that new rule, because it looked like on every kickoff return they got it to like the 40.
Yeah,
because no one was making a block.
Like the Chargers almost like took it to the house.
Yeah.
But one thing I like about that new rule is because you kind of just have like a wall of blockers right in front of the gunners immediately. If your returner gets through that first wall, they might just be gone like pretty often this year, which makes that play 1,000 times more interesting than basically a free touchback every time like it turned into.
And I didn't realize that if you don't kick it within the limits of where the ball needs to be, I think it's what the
20
the goal line and the 20.
Yeah.
Then you get it at the 30, like if they kick it out of bounds. Right?
I think you get it at the 40, or at least that's where they put it when Jason Myers kicked it short. The Chargers had the ball at the 40.
So he kicked it short as in it went out of bounds? Or
it hit at like the 25 because they were trying to squib.
Oh.
And then they just got it on the 40. I was like, holy shit.
Wow, so it's like an onside kick rule almost?
Unless I'm remembering wrong, but that stuck out to me because I was like, wow, that's harsh for just not getting it to the 20.
Yeah, geez.
But I think it's just going to totally change that play fundamentally, which is a good thing because, from when we started watching football in the early mid-2000s to last year, the kickoff went from like one of the coolest plays to one of the most useless and most lame. So I'm glad that they're doing something that seems to lower the chance of injury objectively, because you're not running 20 miles an hour at each other like they were.
Right.
But it makes it a more interesting play because it's more likely to score.
It is nice that the NFL was able to solve that equation and basically like rule out the injuries, because like you were saying, getting a running start to tackling someone, that's a lot more dangerous than dealing with them like when they're 5 yards away and then trying to bring them down like as they're going past you.
Did they steal that idea from the XFL or one of those other leagues?
I think so. Yes.
I can't remember. I mean, there was like the AAF, there was like 3 spin-off leagues that spurred up in the last 5 years. I can't remember them all. But I think one of them had this idea first. But as they say, it's a copycat league in the NFL, and if they find something good, they're gonna use it.
Yeah.
Who stood out to you on defense? I know there was a lot of just kind of all-around solid performances, but anyone jump out to you?
Well, I missed the first half entirely, and it's kind of hard to rewatch preseason games if you don't record them, and we don't have cable anymore. So I got to be honest with you. I don't know if I don't know if I got to see enough action to rule out a singular guy, but I did like the highlights from Byron Murphy. That one clip you showed or sent me of him bringing down the guy behind the line of scrimmage on a run play. I was like, good. That's what I want to see. I don't really need to see sacks or anything like that's too,
which he almost did get a sack too.
But
twice.
I'm just like, I think stopping the run I sort of took for granted because they're not flashy plays. They're kind of doing the dirty work, sort of, so to speak. So I think seeing that, it's kind of bringing me back to like the Pete Carroll days when we had a really good defense because we had all those guys up front that weren't flashy, but they were doing the things that needed to be done to make the plays happen.
Exactly, and I mean, what stood out to me about Byron Murphy is just every single play he was disruptive. And as that position that he plays, whether it be 3 technique or nose, you want to cause disruption. You might not very often be the guy getting to the ball carrier, whether it be the quarterback or the running back, but if you're just if you're disrupting the general rhythm that the offense is trying to operate under, you're doing your job. And he did that basically every single play. His get off, I know that's something people talked about in the pre-draft process and in training camp and whatever, but like actually seeing it in game, it's like, damn, like that is very, I hate to say this because it's way too early, but his speed at the point of attack kind of reminds me of Aaron Donald a little bit.
It's funny you say like he was a disruptor and that was what you noticed, because I remember when we drafted him, I remember specifically Brock Heward saying, yeah, I did a lot of the games because he commentates for college.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of games for like the Big Ten and all that. And so he saw a lot of Texas games.
Mm-hmm.
He commentated for a lot of them. And he was like, yeah, I like the pick, but I don't remember seeing Byron Murphy and being like, that guy is a game changer, difference maker. And now hearing this, I'm like, oh, cool. He is. Maybe he just coincidentally didn't notice it as much in the college game. That's not to say he can't do it, but yeah, hearing that is a good sign.
Yeah, and we'll get to it a little more later, but that continued into the joint practice we had with the Titans today. Every report I was seeing and hearing was just that he is unblockable, especially in one-on-one. So It's early. We haven't even gotten close to the first real game yet, but so far it's looking like Byron Murphy might be a pretty good draft pick for us. And sticking to the defense, I thought the secondary depth really showed up in this game. The Seahawks gave up just about 100 yards passing. That's impressive, especially when you're playing against a team that's playing from behind from the second quarter on. And they're trying to throw the ball a lot. You only get 100 yards in like 3 quarters, basically. We gave that up on 2 drives often the last handful of years. So I just think we have some of the better depth we've had in the secondary in a long time. Even at the safety position, which I was not as high on as our corners. I think our corner room is like awesome. But Kevon Wallace looks like he could start somewhere, and he's probably going to be our number 3 safety this year.
Do you know if Kobe Bryant is still playing safety in and out?
He was in the game Saturday.
Okay.
That's how he got that interception.
Right.
He was like, I think he was playing free safety.
Because he came up from behind the play, didn't he?
Yeah. It was like the ball was about 10 yards in front of him when it hit the receiver's hands, and then he just swooped in and grabbed it. Tariq Woolen had an awesome play to just he almost got a pick that probably would have been a pick 6, but he's so fast. He does this thing where if you have someone running a crosser over the middle, he'll trail them and make it look like there's a window, but he's not running full speed. So the second the ball's thrown, he actually, picks up full head of steam like he's capable of, and then all of a sudden you might have an interception where it looked like it almost reminds me of like when you're playing Madden and someone's open and the defender just warps to the ball.
Right.
Like he can just do that in reality, which is nice to see. Mind the technical difficulty. We're running this whole thing ourselves today. So.
Yeah. We're jacks of all trades.
So yeah, anything else stick out to you on the defense, or do you want to switch over to offense?
Kind of want to go and talk about my boy Sam.
All right, what do you got?
Well, I noticed he did that first play he had where he got hit, ball goes out of bounds, whatever. That's to be expected. He was under pressure, but I like the fact that he had no picks. The guy leading the league in interceptions and pass attempts last year. We kind of didn't ask him to do too much. And he didn't do too much. We had, 13 points when he was in, and then we put in P.J. Walker and got a field goal.
He did throw a tutty.
I did see that. And that was a nice move by the tight end there to get in the end zone. What was his, Russell?
Brady Russell, yeah.
Yeah.
He's another guy that I've just been seeing nonstop reports of him killing it in
I didn't
camp.
even know who that was until he scored.
I thought he was just going to catch the ball, go down, and then he goes 10 yards further for a touchdown. And I believe that was on third down, too. One quick note about that game, I think the Seahawks were about 55% for third down conversions. And then they allowed like less than 10%. So and as a consequence of that, we possessed the ball more than twice as long as the Chargers did. So it's like everything that we complained about all last season
was like flipped.
Yeah, granted for one preseason game, but if they can just continue that, I'm really excited. Like I didn't think that they were capable of making that many changes that quickly, but
we do have to slow down a little bit, though, because remember 2 years ago, the Bears game, how the Bears all thought that they were, like, Super Bowl bound when they kicked our ass, and we were like, we suck. And we were good, and they sucked.
I'm not trying to, like, take away too much from the game, but I'm just saying as, like, a dress rehearsal, it couldn't have gone much better.
You'd rather it go good than bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
But getting back on topic, I thought Sam had some throws he'd probably want back, but he didn't really ever like let it rip downfield too much. It was pretty much like kind of safe 10, 15-yard throws at the most. I thought he did his job.
I thought he ran when he had to, and he looked good running the ball.
He's pretty mobile. I think he's quite a bit more mobile than Drew was. So I think that is something he's got in his back pocket.
Even Geno.
Yeah, I mean, Geno's, like 33?
Yeah,
so
not very mobile.
I feel like Geno can run pretty good, but he's not like quick and shifty.
He's not a threat to run.
Sam Howell kind of has like a Tim Tebow like running style as a quarterback, where like I know from his 40 time he's not super fast, but he's
pretty stocky.
Yeah.
So
he's only like 6'1" or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, only 6'1", but for a quarterback that's not super tall.
Pretty small for a QB.
But yeah, I thought he was solid. I thought the running game really carried us in the first half with McIntosh and George Holani. They both looked great. McIntosh, first real action we've been able to watch him in. That guy does not go down easily.
Yeah, I saw that. What was it, the running play we had early in the game where he got like 15 yards or whatever?
Yeah, and it looked like it was going to be like a 2-yard gain, but he kind of just keeps chugging along and not going down, spinning off of would-be tacklers. He definitely showed some good stuff. I thought he was probably the player of the game offensively.
Really?
Holani had the touchdown, and it seems like he has more speed and burst than McIntosh, but I think we should keep both those guys if we can make the room on the roster, because running back health into the winter is always a big question.
Yeah.
And
when was the last, well, if at all, has Ken Walker finished a season where he hasn't been out for a couple weeks?
No.
Yeah.
And I would expect him at most to play like 15 games this year. It's just how often does any running back really play 17 games anymore?
It's rare.
I feel like injuries, with all the changes they've tried to make to player safety, I feel like injuries are more common nowadays because I mean, like the LTs and, pre-injury Sean Alexander, they played like 16 games for like 5-6 years in a row.
And you also didn't have the dual running back like formula that we have in the NFL now. Like when we had Sean Alexander, we weren't using Maurice Morris the other 50% of the time. We were using him
10% of the time.
Yeah. So
and you had a fullback leading the way for half those handoffs. It's funny that position just doesn't.
Crazy how much the NFL has evolved.
Yeah.
Since we were
that position
kids.
Virtually doesn't exist besides niche play packages these days.
Yeah, Kyle Juszczyk is the only fullback that I'm currently aware of that like makes a difference in games.
Yeah. So I thought running back room looked great. I thought the receivers did a fantastic job.
Who's that guy with the dreads on our team? He must be a rookie. He was returning kickoffs, and I think he's a receiver.
Was it Laviska Shenault?
Is that who that is?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
he's a good kick returner.
Yeah, I think he's going to take D. Eskridge's roster spot.
He should.
Because I feel like they're very redundant player types, but Shenault just looked better. So
he also just has more, like, I feel like, I guess they've been in the NFL around the same time, but I feel like Laviska Shenault has played more than D. Eskridge. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I don't think he gets hurt every 2 seconds like D. Eskridge.
I think that's mainly what I'm referring to.
Who, by the way, did get hurt in this game a little bit.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not.
Doing what?
I don't know. He had one good play. He had that
Easton Stick tackle him, and now he's hurt.
He gave him the hit stick. Yeah. Shenault looked good, a returner, and the few plays he had on offense. I thought Aesop Winston had a really nice game. He had a couple third down grabs that were not easy catches to make. Nick Harris looked good. I didn't really get to see a whole lot of any of the top 4 guys because I missed the whole first quarter due to technical difficulties.
Yeah.
But since we've been giving so much glowing praise, I do have to go into some negatives. I really hope Nick Harris, when he starts playing, or sorry, not Nick Harris, Connor Williams, when he starts playing for us, is the answer, because this offensive line still looks pretty bad. And I know, we don't have Abe Lucas out there. I don't even think Charles Cross played, but there was just a lot of poorly blocked plays, and it continues to look like it's going to be the weak point of the team this season. But it's early. With all the good and all the bad.
Who played as a starter on the offensive line? I said, I didn't see the first half. So
I think we had Fant, and then at right guard we had who's the big kid that we drafted last year? I cannot remember his name. Damn it, this is pissing me
Not
off.
the guy from Michigan, not the center.
Olu did start at center.
Okay, and he did bad.
He didn't do great.
Okay.
I mean, there's a reason why we traded for Connor Williams. Or not traded, signed Connor Williams.
Right.
Left guard was the guy, Laken Tomlinson from the Jets, who's meh. And then I forget who we started at left tackle. I will say, though, Mike Jarrell, who we got in the 7th round. And
isn't that the guy from the weird school?
Yeah. He's a crazy good athlete, though, and he actually, he looks like he can play. He looks like he can play in the NFL. And then the other guy, Satoa Laumea, also looked pretty good. So the rookies looked good. I didn't really see all that much from Christian Haynes, but I can't say I was watching. So there's some pieces back there, and if Abe Lucas can get healthy and just, get over the hump of this weird knee issue he's had.
I hope he's not our offensive lineman version of Percy Harvin, because I feel like he has so much skill at his position.
For sure.
But I'm worried we're never going to be able to see that at its peak.
Yeah, it's like his rookie year is all we're going to get full season-wise out of him at this rate. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I feel like he's going to start on the PUP list, but he raises the ceiling so much of our team, I feel like, because when he came back in last year, they were immediately so much better.
And solving your 2 tackle positions is the hardest thing to do in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've had some decent answers at left tackle, for example, since Walter Jones, but It's not like we've had a Walter Jones since he left.
Right.
Granted, that's a Hall of Fame player, but but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
we haven't had a
easy.
Max Unger since he left, and I mean, he's not a Hall of Famer, but he was pretty good, and I think that's all we're trying to get.
I thought Max Unger was like a Ring of Honor type.
Yeah, for sure.
talent.
I would
Like,
say he's. Yeah, I would agree with that.
very good center. Still kind of mad we traded him 9 years ago. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much a wrap. Other than Jason Myers, make your fucking extra points. That better be the only one you miss all year.
It's not gonna. You know he's gonna miss a crucial one, and then we're gonna be like, dude, if Jason Myers had just made that field goal, we would have won that game.
I'm not looking forward to that.
I guess we could do a little bit of around the league, and then go back to the game this upcoming week and what we should expect to see.
Yeah, so JJ McBroccoli.
Done
McCarthy.
for the year, yes. JJ out for the season due to a torn meniscus. I was kind of shocked when I saw that because
he looked pretty good in his first game too. I wouldn't have thought that he got injured in that game.
Well, did he get injured in the game? I thought it was a lingering knee issue that he was having, and it kind of got inflamed.
Yeah, I can't say I really know for sure. I didn't read the whole report. I just saw the headlines everywhere that his meniscus was torn. It's just kind of crazy. I think I saw that that's the only time ever a top 10 pick as a quarterback has just missed the entire regular season from injury without playing even one game. And
yeah,
that's like you think about all the times the Vikings have had a quarterback, like just last year, Kirk Cousins.
It's almost like the Jets. They had their issues with Aaron Rodgers, and then the Vikings like burst through the door and were like, "Watch this."
Yeah, so when it was like J.J. McCarthy's rookie highlights, then it was just Aaron Rodgers carrying the flag. No, but it's a bummer because I was actually looking forward to watching him because, I mean, I'm not exactly thrilled at the prospect of Sam Darnold leading the way for them. I've seen enough of him. We know what we're going to get there. But JJ he's got some stuff.
I think anytime a player goes down that you're anticipating in any way, shape, or form, like Aaron Rodgers last year, like we were all pretty bummed. I think I can speak for most of us when he just didn't even really he didn't even throw a completed pass.
Yeah.
So it just sucks when like good television and good product from the NFL is just taken away from us for a year indefinitely.
Well, it was really terrible too because the Jets got like 1,000 primetime games in anticipation of Rodgers, and then we just had to watch their terrible quarterbacks be terrible.
I wonder who that team's going to be this year. Maybe the Well, I don't know how many primetime games they have, but remember the Broncos had so many 2 years ago, and they were like the worst thing ever.
Yeah, those were brutal watches. I guess sticking with the rookie quarterbacks around the league, Crybaby looks like the real deal, buddy. Caleb Williams looks awesome.
It looks like his parents did everything they could to make him stop being a crybaby, and he got everything he wanted, and he's thriving.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that play where he was like kind of running to his right.
And he shoveled it.
Well, it wasn't the shovel pass. That was also crazy.
Oh, you're talking about when he threw across his body?
Yeah, and that was like 30, 35 yards on a line perfectly where it needs to be. Like, there's like 5 people on the planet that can do what he did there. That was it's
special. So weird how athletically gifted Caleb is because have you seen him walk around?
Yeah, he doesn't look like a super
He looks like this. He's always like, he's got like gamer neck. He's always like hunched over and he looks like he has scoliosis. But I mean,
maybe
then he does crazy shit on the football field and it's like, how are you this talented and athletic? You don't walk around like, I don't know. It was just crazy seeing him make those throws because I was like,
it's crazy that the Bears might have like a top tier quarterback because they have literally never had that. Not even just
and a top tier offense. Like,
yeah, their receiver room, Romo Dunze as their number 3 is pretty crazy.
Yeah, have you been watching Hard Knocks at all?
I have not.
I've been watching some of the clips with Keenan Allen, and I can just tell from the bits and pieces I'm seeing that him being there is going to be huge for them, I think, in the development of really all of their young players.
I think Keenan's going to be like a touchdown, third down machine in the Chicago offense. I'm kind of nervous for when we play them because I think it's in Chicago, too.
It is, and it's late in the year.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be tough.
That could be like both of us trying to get a playoff spot game.
And like their defense really came on last year, and they didn't lose a lot. Their team's really young, so that I don't know. I feel like they're kind of a dark horse candidate in the NFC North to take it because the Packers looked like the best team besides the Lions last year. But I mean, I feel like all three of those teams, any of them could come out. I think the Vikings are already kind of done because I don't know if you saw, but Jordan Addison carted off the field today.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
No update yet, but yeah, the Vikings have had like one of the most unfortunate off seasons.
We've been super lucky. We've had no injuries.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Not like just stuff that's lingered, nothing new.
Yeah, I mean obviously Abraham Lucas, he's still hurt, but like yeah, no injuries on the game on Saturday, which was awesome because I feel like we always have one player in the preseason that goes down that.
Yeah, it happens almost every year. And like let's knock on wood because we still got like 3 weeks left of this time before we get to the real games. Other rookie quarterbacks, I didn't really see or hear much about Michael Penix. I don't know how much his debut really showed.
I know he did pretty decent against Miami in their first game, but I didn't see highlights of their second game. So
yeah, and then Drake May, I think he's looked okay.
Well, hasn't he only thrown like 3 passes?
Yeah, and he didn't play very much,
which doesn't make any sense. Why would you not play your rookie quarterback in the preseason?
I'm not sure because, I mean, it doesn't seem like he's going to be starting right out of the gate, so you'd think you would want to get him like a ton of reps in preparation for this.
Right, and it's like, why are they playing Joe Milton more?
I don't know, but Joe Milton looked kind of good.
I know, but like it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Bo Nix looked pretty good in his first action.
Yeah.
And also, not a lot of buzz about this guy, but Spencer Rattler looked...
Oh, my God.
I don't know, Jonah. He looked kind of good.
No.
The Saints fans are... They're like chomping at the bit to get rid of Carr.
Country. It's car country.
Dude, the car dealership is going out of business.
Show me the Carfax.
It's on fire. Are we forgetting a rookie quarterback, or did we get all of them?
Bo Nix. Let's see. Bo Nix, Michael Penix,
Broccoli,
JJ,
Drake May,
Caleb. Yeah, I think that's it. 6.
Yeah, that's it.
But I will say, I've always liked Bo Nix.
I mean, I felt like he's like a very scheme dependent type quarterback. And I didn't necessarily, I guess we didn't even know who our OC was going to be for a while. But I felt like Geno would be a better fit in what Ryan Grubb is trying to do because I thought that him and Penix were kind of like, they have a kind of a similar skill set, in my opinion. Bo Nix went into a really good situation with Sean Payton. I hate Sean Payton, but I think that he could really excel with the kind of stuff that Sean Payton likes to do. A lot of quick passes, a lot of intermediate throws, stuff like that.
I just thought the throws Nix was making were like those like you can't just pull Mitchell Trubisky off the bench and ask him to do that.
You can't really ask him to do anything.
Besides accept the Nickelodeon Blimp Award.
The MVP. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I feel like these last couple quarterback classes have, well, besides 2022, that's already crashed and burned. Same with 2021 as well. But the last 2 classes, we've had a lot of quarterbacks drafted, and a lot of them look pretty dang good. Mm-hmm. So I feel like in the coming years here, we're really going to have a whole new generation where it's like, Jordan Love is the veteran with like Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Like those are going to be the old guys.
Well, it already feels weird that Russ is on his way out because we watched football before he was even in the league. And now he's about to be out of the league.
Yeah, so I had been watching football for like 6 or 7 years when we drafted him.
Yeah.
So, and now he's like 35, 36. Like he is at the age where it could this could be his last year. We don't know. If he turns it around with the Steelers and throws 4,000 yards and like 32 touchdowns, like I wouldn't be surprised. But at the same time, if he's just out of the league at the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised either. Because I mean, Cam Newton's career was over at 29, like our age.
Yeah.
So mobile quarterbacks, like they don't really have the shelf life that the pocket guys typically have been able to show. And it's not even necessarily typical. It's just there's been, guys like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers, Roethlisberger. They played a long time, but
well, and Russ being a running quarterback who's 5'10", like it won't surprise me if he doesn't really get much of an opportunity this year, and then he kind of dwindles out, because it's not like he showed. I mean, he had an okay season last year. There were flashes of vintage Russ, I thought. But for the most part, like, he didn't do all he could do to keep his job. That's objectively true.
I mean, I thought he put up a really good box score stat line last year, 26 touchdowns and like 8 picks, 3,000 yards. But he was never a fit in what Sean Payton was trying to do. And I don't think what Nathaniel Hackett was trying to do the year before was something that was in Russ's wheelhouse. I actually think that Pete had Russ figured out, like optimized, and no one else has really been able to find that synergy with him yet. But I don't think Justin Fields has taken his job. He fumbled like 2 snaps in the game.
Really? I'm not surprised.
He looked bad.
I've thought Justin Fields was not an NFL quarterback since his first time he was on the television in a Bears uniform.
He's a crazy athlete, and he has a good arm, and he'll have some of the best highlight plays you'll see out of anybody, but just he can't really like just be a normal quarterback play to play. Like it's you have a crazy good run, crazy good throw, and then he throws it into the dirt, takes a sack for no reason. Him and Wilson are like 2 of the worst quarterbacks in terms of taking unnecessary sacks. It's kind of funny. They're both on the same team. But, yeah, I think all these 14-year-olds out there that think Fields is like going to go off for the Steelers, like, dude, you didn't grow up watching Russell Wilson. Like, even 35-year-old Russell Wilson is a lot better than Justin Fields, in my opinion. So
I feel like watching Justin Fields is like the offensive coordinator's like trying to reinvent the wheel when you don't need to. And that's why Justin Fields sucks, is because you have to make everything way harder than it needs to be, because he's not a very like accurate thrower of the ball. He's a really good runner, but I mean, I don't know. For me, it's all eye test with Justin Fields. Like, I mean, the numbers kind of back up what I'm saying.
He's never thrown for 3,000 yards.
But, yeah, and, like, remember last year that game against the Buccaneers when they were, like, on their goal line, and then he just throws the ball, it gets picked off by a defender and pick 6, and it was just, like, such a bad decision. It's like he did shit like that all the time, and it's like, why is him going to Pittsburgh gonna change anything? Just because they've had a good a reliable franchise to depend on for, I guess, the entirety of our football watching careers, and the Bears haven't. Like, I don't think that's going to translate to Justin Fields. It's just automatically going to play better.
Well, and it certainly isn't going to translate to them winning. Justin Fields is one of the worst win-loss records for a quarterback's first 3 years, like, ever. Nobody talks about that when they talk about him.
That was my big thing too, is like everyone was like, oh, Justin Fields that, Justin Fields this, he's going to be a great fantasy player. It's like, hold on. Like, you don't last in the league if you don't win.
It's
so,
true.
Like, he can be the fastest motherfucker out there, but if he's not winning games, guess what? The Bears are going to look elsewhere for a guy that can. And they did.
That's what they did.
So...
And that's like, it's just, I guess, to put a pin in the Wilson Fields conversation, like, that's why I feel like the Steelers are going to go with Russell Wilson no matter what really happens here, is because he's going to give them a much better chance to win. He
also has a winning on his track record.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he has over
Justin
100.
Fields never has.
Wilson has over 100 NFL wins. He has over, like, 115 NFL wins, I think. That's, like, top 15 all time. And the Steelers have a really good run game and just like a physical team. And so I feel like if they can kind of just treat him like early career Russ, where you run the ball a lot, be good on third down and play action, and just kind of get him outside of the pocket more and give him a chance to where he doesn't have to do too much, he can still be a really good quarterback. He's still really accurate. He's still really good at throwing on the run and all those things that Russ has always been good at. Whereas with Fields, it's like you just don't know what he's going to fucking do.
Yeah, he's too unpredictable.
You can't depend on any sort of stability.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think the Steelers are low-key a dark horse out of the AFC North because their defense is still legit. Mike Tomlin's a good coach, and they went 9-8 with awful quarterback play.
They're also really good against their division rivals.
They are.
They own the Ravens. I think they swept the Ravens last year.
I think they did, and that's with fucking Trubisky and
yeah, they're like the Rams of their division. I feel like they're just pesky and annoying.
Yeah,
and every game is 10-9.
Yeah, look when we played them. It was actually, I think it was a high-scoring game, but they just ran all over us.
That game sucked.
That was the game where I was like, Pete Carroll might get fired.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph fucking cooked us.
Yeah, that was so gross. I wish I could delete that game from my memory.
But we got the Titans coming up.
Let's talk Titans. So we had a joint practice with them today for, I didn't realize this, first time in our lifetime. We haven't had a joint practice with a team since 1991.
Really?
Yeah, which I believe because as long as I've been watching football, I've always been like, what the fuck are these joint practices? We never do that. Is that just a East Coast team
I
thing?
figured it was in Hard Knocks 2 years ago when Detroit was on it, they did one with Indianapolis, and I kind of figured it was a regional thing.
Yeah, but we're nowhere near Tennessee or Nashville.
Did we fly there, or did they fly here?
Yeah, we're there right now.
That's kind of crazy. Maybe it's just to, get acclimated to the heat. Because are we playing anyone on the road in the South?
I mean, it's going to be hot anywhere we play in September.
Yeah.
And we play, granted, we play Miami at home, but, you have some September days in Seattle that hit mid-70s. Which most of the country will be like, that's cold, but it's hot for us. But yeah, I guess there was a little guy by the name of Jamal Adams talking a lot of smack at the joint practice today.
Saying what?
He was just barking.
What do you have to say?
He was barking at
Sorry
everyone.
I was injured and wasted all your guys' money.
Well, here's what's really funny. First play of the 11-11 joint practice, he tackles Kenneth Walker and brings him to the ground, which you weren't even supposed to do in a joint practice, by the way.
That hothead would do some shit like that.
Yeah, and then he talks a bunch of smack and gets hurt and doesn't play the rest of the game. So that's about all he had in his day. But the receivers were cooking in the one-on-ones that I saw. Jake Bobo had a really good catch down the sideline. I heard JSN was uncoverable in those one-on-one situations.
Nice.
And Tariq Woolen also had another really strong practice. So I don't know how much you can really take out of a joint practice like that, but it was nice to see some highlights. And we're playing them on Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. That's in Tennessee, yeah.
Yeah,
we're already over there. It's weird we got 2 road games in a row to start the preseason.
I know, and it's another 4:00 game, so I'm just the same thing as last week.
You won't be able to watch?
I will be missing the first half.
Oh, yeah, and we're supposed to be camping during that, so shit, I'll have to figure that out.
Honestly, I already know I'm going to, start watching it and be like, wow, I already missed all the good stuff like I did last weekend.
Well, and Mike McDonald said already, no starters are playing in this game. So it's really for the true diehards to watch this particular matchup. And I'm kind of glad we're not going to play any starters because I don't know how the field condition is there, and I do not want to risk anyone getting injured for the second preseason.
And we've already had no injuries through one game, so we might as well just ride this thing out and only play our non-starters.
But we'll see a lot of Sam Howell again, so hopefully I hope he goes off this week.
That would be nice to see.
I want to see. I saw a lot good from the defense last week. I want to see the offense kind of wake up a little more this week.
Yeah, for sure. I don't really have a whole lot else. I don't know. It's kind of, we already covered all the angles from last preseason game. Like we both said, starters aren't going to be playing, so just kind of going into it. Going to enjoy some preseason football, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just hope no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
This is like my main hope for this game. And then after that, we got the Browns, and then preseason's already over before we've really even gotten used to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm fine with that, though.
Yeah, I do not long for the 4 preseason games like we had for so many years. So
yeah, I kind of hate them, to be honest with you. It just is like torture for like the season to actually start.
Yeah, I think they have a better system now with only 3 for sure.
Yeah, but all right, well that's pretty much a wrap for me. Ryan, you got anything more you want to add?
Nope, that's it for me. I don't think we'll make it to training camp this year, but yeah. Stay tuned next week for our wrap up of this Titans game, and we'll catch you next time.
Yes, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by and listening.